Hello friends. Today I have brought you audiobook summary of book Ego is the Enemy. It aims to help you suppress ego early before bad habits take hold, to replace the temptations of ego with humility and discipline. When we experience success and cultivate strength when you go through failure. So let us start the audiobook summary of book Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday.
Chapter 1. If there's anything that can impede your journey to success, it's your ego. Your ego is the enemy of whatever you aspire to be. To aspire is to have a goal, a calling, a new beginning, or set out to do something. But you can't just have aspirations without first believing that you have the ability to achieve your goals. Your belief in yourself does not depend on achievement or success. It depends on how self-contained, self-motivated, and principled you are. Many people believe that once they have a particular talent, they have everything they need. But this is not true. You need to constantly evaluate your ability because this creates room for improvement. A person's ego can manifest in so many ways, and one of those is when a person talks too much instead of working. When we face a challenge such as starting a business, producing a film, or advancing an important cause, it is better to think about it, work quietly, and ignore the impulse to seek attention through talking. It's not out of place to be excited and nervous whenever you start something, so we tend to comfort ourselves externally instead of internally. This external comfort involves a lot of talking. If you want to overcome your ego, you have to detach yourself from your emotions and do the hard work of self-improvement. It's better to have ambition, a desire to become better in your area of expertise, than to be consumed by your ego. Keep reading to discover how ego can be detrimental to your success and how to become ambitious instead. Chapter 2. Nobody knows it all. This should drive you to learn from others and build relationships. By being humble, you can overcome the assumption that you know it all. Until you realize that you don't know everything, you will be unable to learn. And the day you stop learning is the day you die. When you constantly remind yourself that you're not the best person in the world, you'll be able to manage your ego. There is always someone better than you, someone you can learn from. Take Kirk Hammett, for instance. He passed an opportunity to become a member of a famous rock band, Metallica, but he knew he needed to learn. So he found himself a mentor, Joe Satriani, a renowned guitarist. By learning from Satriani, Hammett was able to acquire new skills and become better as a guitarist. Being a mentee can help you rein in your ego. In taking or receiving feedback, the ego tends to ignore harsh or negative feedback by telling us we do not need them when, in fact, we do. We become defensive. The way out of this trap is to be humble. Another way to avoid the ego trap is by teaching others. Teaching exposes you to a wide range of possibilities in your field. It also challenges you to learn more so that you can be a better tutor. Lying to ourselves that we know things when we do not know them prevents us from becoming better. Ego makes us think that we know it all. The solution to this problem is a studious self-assessment. Frank Shamrock, a mixed martial arts legend, introduced Shamrock's formula to help us overcome our egos. This formula involves creating an environment that optimizes your abilities. You need to get a minus, someone you're teaching, and a plus, someone better than you. For balance, you also need an equal who has skills that are almost on the same level as yours. These different relationships sharpen your skills and improve your abilities. Chapter 3. Pride prevents you from listening to advice and can lead to failure. Many people focus on their passion without having any purpose. Passion makes you try the same thing repeatedly with the expectation of a different result. But purpose is like passion without boundaries. For you to achieve great things, you have to choose to live with purpose. One clog in the wheel of living a purposeful life is pride. Pride makes you cling to past glory. Truly successful people know that they cannot afford to stop learning. They always push harder and try to outdo their last victory. If Steve Jobs had allowed his achievement with the Apple II computer to get into his head, we probably would not have iPhones and iPads today. Not only will pride keep you from improving, but it will also make you resistant to correction. Benjamin Franklin once hit his head against a low door frame when he visited Boston, his hometown. This was a painful experience that was totally avoidable if he had not been prideful. Cotton Mather, one of the most respected figures in town, saw the low door frame and warned Franklin, but he would neither listen nor obey. Franklin thought he knew better, and his pride got him injured. To overcome pride, ask yourself how a humble person would approach a situation and follow their example. Also, learn to create new, impactful tasks instead of holding on to your past successes. You can have a supportive friend as an accountability partner. Did you know? Sometimes people employ more aggressive methods to sustain their false impressions of themselves. Chapter 4. There's an increase in productivity when individuals of different strengths work together. Most great people of history in the world, including Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Benjamin Franklin, started out by serving other successful people. This is called the apprentice model. When you are just starting out, learning from someone can be quite beneficial to your growth. There are a few fundamental realities you must keep in mind. You're not nearly as good or as important as you think you are. You have an attitude that needs to be readjusted. Most of what you think you know, or most of what you learned in books or in school, is out of date or wrong. A great way to work on these realities is to attach yourself to people and organizations who are already successful. This helps you strengthen your identity as you all move forward simultaneously. Many organizations and successful people understand how important it is to help others gain insight, and so they accept interns and mentees. This concept is similar to antiambulo, which originated in the Roman system of art. It means clearing the path, finding the direction someone already intended to head, and helping them focus on their strengths. This is what successful businessmen and politicians do. They pay writers, thinkers, and artists to produce works of art or perform for them in exchange for protection, food, and gifts. Apart from helping others find their strengths, assigning tasks also helps a person overcome their ego. When you assign tasks, you can get a fresh perspective on many issues. But ego makes people do things they should have asked others to do. There's a feeling that you are the only one who can do it right is a bad one. By learning to delegate, you allow others to learn and use their time properly. Failure to delegate can ruin your business and prevent you from living an enjoyable life. Delegating also helps you to focus on new tasks that will be equally rewarding. Chapter 5. You're only as strong as your humility and self-control. When one overcomes a hurdle, there's a tendency to feel like Clark Kent, a superhero who saved the world without anybody's help. Truth is, even superheroes have sidekicks. Clark Kent had Lois Lane and a host of others who helped him be Superman. When we remove ego, we're left with what is real. What replaces ego is humility, yes, but rock-hard humility and confidence. Whereas ego is artificial, this type of confidence can hold weight. Ego is stolen, confidence is earned. Ego is self-anointed, its swagger is artifice. One is girding yourself, the other gaslighting. It's the difference between potent and poisonous. Ryan Holiday. Humility cannot hurt your career. Appreciating your friends and colleagues, teachers and trainers is a good thing. True, some careers require individual brilliance. Nonetheless, you need to respect your fans and well-wishers by thanking them profusely for their support. Those who voted for you, brought you your first training kit, provided coffee while you were busy with work, or fed your cat when you were out of town are all part of your success story. You need to be humble enough to see them and appreciate their effort. As you collaborate with others to achieve success, you also need to learn the art of self-control. Whatever we desire or aspire to achieve depends on the things we are willing to tolerate. Getting angry, emotional, or losing restraint is a recipe for failure. No matter how talented, rich, or connected you are, you have to subdue your ego by not fighting back. This will save your relationships with others and help you on your way to success. Chapter 6. One failure can be the beginning of an exciting phase if you let it. Rejection can hurt your ego. The feeling of entitlement to a reward you do not deserve can cause frustration when you don't get what you ask for. Things will not always go your way in this world. Instead of allowing disappointment to get the better of you, channel that emotion into a reflection on what you could have done better. This will be possible if you begin by acknowledging that the only thing you can control is your effort and not the outcome. You also need to make an accurate assessment of your performance. It is easier to hate in failure and diversity. Hate blames and makes others pay for your mistakes, but love is always right, open, egoless, positive, and productive. Difficulties are part of the human experience. We must feel the touch of failure at one point in time or another. Many people learn from failures, but hardly from success. We all exist in a continuum. Aspiration leads to success and diversity. Success creates its own adversity and hopefully new ambitions. Adversity leads to more success. Whatever's next for us, the thing we must avoid is ego. It makes all the steps hard. All great men and women went through difficulties to get where they are, and they made mistakes. No one is infallible. Try to do better than your best, and your chances of succeeding at future attempts will increase considerably. When things do not go your way, investigate the reason for the failure. Chapter 7. Ego is always the enemy of whatever feat you plan to achieve, but sobriety can help you. You will start to feel better when you can separate yourself from situations and people's opinions. Ego makes you feel you are invincible and you have unlimited force. But sobriety is the command of oneself, and you should embrace it. Do not be deceived by the recognition you have or the amount of money in your bank account. Greatness comes from humble beginnings. It comes from grunt work. It means you're the least important person in the room until you change that with results. Ryan Holiday. Maintaining sobriety requires fighting forces that surround one's ego. Ego clouds the mind, but sobriety prevents this from happening. Sobriety balances our success when things begin to get better. For what often comes next, ego is the enemy. This entails finding a balance or a midpoint between our ego and our desire to achieve. Behind every goal is a drive to be happy and fulfilled. But when egoism sets in, you lose track of your goals. A great way to maintain ego sobriety is to grow up and organize yourself. You must have the ability to manage yourself and others. Be aware of the disease called me. It begins with thinking you're better or special, and that your problems and experiences are different from other people's problems and experiences. Hence, they cannot understand you. This attitude is selfish and prevents you from learning. Conclusion. Ego is a part of everyone which develops unconsciously. Conscious efforts must be made to curb it. When you succeed at something, you should watch out for the possibility of ego rearing its ugly head. If left untamed, ego can lead to catastrophic outcomes in one's life. It is the enemy in matters of aspiration, success, and failure. Each person must decidedly become aware of the manifestations of ego in their lives and make efforts to kill it. When you allow ego to fester, it can prevent you from reaching your potential and living truly, happily, and lovingly. As much as you want to be successful, your success must be filled with meaning. To know that you are a part of something greater than yourself fills your success with meaning. When you lose connection with a higher purpose, success can feel empty because it is like a part of your soul is gone. This is why connections are important. You work with people who push you toward your dream. No matter what you've done, you always have to be a student for life. You have to keep learning from everyone and everything. Human impulse crafts stories out of past events and includes details that were not there. When you think about your rapid achievements, you credit yourself prematurely with powers you can't control. Instead of stories, face the facts. Listen to the feedback that can help you improve and grow. Your life is the sum of all the decisions you make. By deciding that ego is the enemy, you're making the right choice. You're choosing humility, knowledge, and self-control. And these are fundamental to your journey to success. Try this. Delegate a task you do so well to different persons and see what you can learn from their work. Also, pick an area of interest to you and practice Shamrock's formula to hone your skills and eliminate ego from your life.